Welcome back, everyone, to the Abundance Formula podcast. So excited you're here with me this morning. It's at least morning for me. I've got my cup of coffee, so pardon if I take a few sips here and there because it's an early morning over here. So I usually wake up really early to record podcasts, and then I jump straight into doing my cardio and my workout. Fingers crossed, hopefully all before the girls wake up in the morning. That's just my latest routine that has really worked out for me, is just knocking out some of my essentials that it's hard things to multitask with the girls. So I try to get it done before they're even awake if possible, but it doesn't always work out that way. So it's early morning for me here. Hope you guys are having a great fall. We are having a beautiful fall. There was a really great cold snap that happened the other week, and it really made all the fall colors start popping here in Tennessee finally. And so we've been outside enjoying it, and I can't believe Halloween's around the corner. We do love trick-or-treating. Our neighborhood goes super hard for any of the holidays, which is so fun for kids. And so we'll be trick-or-treating. We kind of have this new family tradition where my brother and his daughters and my sister-in-law, they come to our house for dinner, and my mom and her husband come to our house for dinner, and my mother-in-law. And we have a fun kind of collective potluck Halloween harvest fun style meal. This year we're going to have my mom's awesome chicken chili. I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. And my husband's going to make his kind of more red meat chili. And then my sister-in-law, she makes this amazing, and we always have it at this Halloween dinner, pumpkin dip. It is so good. And sometimes she'll put it even in a pumpkin to make it really festive. And you dip like apples, and oh, it's so good. I'll have some bread. I always like for the kids to make these things called mummy dogs. I saw it on Pinterest years ago when we first started doing this, and they're hot dogs, and you just take a croissant roll and you wrap it around it so it looks like a mummy, and then you can get these little edible eyeballs that you put on it when they're done baking. So it's basically like a pig's in a blanket, except for instead of fully wrapping it like that, you make it look more like a mummy. It's so cool. So the kiddos love that. So I'll have that for the kids. And then I'm going to give my go at making cake pops for the first time. Not sure how this is going to fare. I'm actually not a cake person. I do love cake pops though. Um, so I've actually never like baked a cake, I don't think, from home. But so it should be pretty simple. You basically get box cake mix, bake the cake, and then use your mixer and get it all blended up, added some frosting, to get the right texture so it sticks together, roll them in balls, melt a little chocolate, dip the little sticks in there, and then stick it in the ball and freeze it for a little bit till it's good and solid, and then take it out and melt more chocolate and put the chocolate all over the balls, and then put whatever toppings. I bought a bunch of fun Halloween sprinkles just to make it easy on myself, and so do some fun Halloween sprinkles, and then let it set. So fingers crossed that this will work out. So that's our kind of fun coming up for Halloween. And the very next day is Malia's birthday. So it's like this time of year for me, as soon as like Sailor's birthday hits October 11, the year just flies for me because it's like her birthday and then our Halloween fun tradition. The very next day is Malia's birthday, depending on what day that is. Like this week it's a Wednesday, or this time it's a Wednesday. So then the following Saturday will be like a little birthday party. And then just a few weeks after that's Thanksgiving. I mean, it really gets rolling. But anyways, that's the latest over here. Excited, love fall, and already getting excited for Christmas. I'm already tempted to start listening to Christmas music, even though I am one of those people that typically will wait until after Thanksgiving, unless my kids just want to listen to it, because my kids are festive and love Christmas year round. So we have started watching some Christmas movies because my kids do love Christmas movies, and I'm, always fine to watch some good classics. So diving into today's topic, today I thought it'd be fun to talk about building your networking, and how to get the people that you want in your circle. So one of the things that I do feel blessed to be gifted at is this skill set of getting connected to people that I want to be connected to, and building a really solid circle of influential and smart people. Now, this will apply to you into whatever kind of circle you want to build. But I know a lot of people say, so if you're listening to this podcast, you have extraordinary goals. You want to create an extraordinary life, whatever that looks like to you. You want to create abundance. So therefore, we've all heard the saying, right? The 5 people you surround yourself most basically dictate where you go. Like that's the level of success you'll most likely reach, and is just a huge influence on your life. So we all then say, well, or a lot of people when they get stuck or struggle or have a new place in evolution that they're wanting to go for their life than where they've been, as they're like, well, I want to go to this place in my life or create these things with my life, but I don't have access, or I don't have people around me who do that stuff or who like those things or who connect with me on that stuff or who I can share that dream with or who know how to help me with that dream. And in today's day and age with technology, that really isn't an excuse anymore. So I wanted to share on this podcast how I've done this, because one of the big questions I always get is, man, Jeana, how did you get such epic people on this podcast? How did you get celebrities on? How did you get, billionaires on and mega millionaires and all, Paralympic gold medal athletes? How did you get all these people on your podcast? And so I'm going to share with you how I do that, and then not only how I've done that, but where the real gold is in that. So it is possible for you to build a network of amazing, epic people around you, especially with technology. So here's how you do it. So whatever your dream life looks like, or the people that you're like looking at on Instagram or Facebook or in your town, wherever, that you want to be like or would love to, if you're like, if I could have them in my inner circle, man, I could achieve so much, right? So you'll have a list kind of some people, like you'll have some people that land in that place for you, big mentors for you. And I have those people. So then what you do is you look at those people, and then you get online, which is great, and you see, okay, based on their social media, what we see put out from them, who are their close five? Who are their five people they tend to spend the most time around, right? And a lot of times say these big people that are big mentors for us, especially if it's in business or just doing epic things in life, right? They're probably going to have a large following potentially, and so it's like, okay, so who do we see on their social media are their closest five people they tend to be around? And then you go to those people's pages and you say, okay, and who are the closest five people they tend to be around? And there'll be some overlap between the person you just looked at and them, and then there'll be some new people. So then you go to those people's pages and you work your way back. And as you work your way back through their network, it'll get, so we say, for example, in the business realm, let's say. So you may be looking at someone who you'd love to be in a circle with someday, or love to have as a mentor for you, or be in the room with them one day. And maybe they're called, say, a macro influencer. So they have a very large following. Maybe they are very in touch with their following in that they will respond to DMs most likely, or they may not. Some people don't even manage their social media when they're that big. They have their assistant do it, or a marketing team. So macro influencer. Then as you work your way back through their network, you're looking at who their network is. You'll work your way back to the micro influencers. So people more at like between the 10K and, six figure, like mid to low, like low six figure K following people. These people definitely tend to be very engaged with their followers. They still have the capacity. They still may have an assistant helping with this, but they tend to very much so like be the one to respond to DMs and get back to you quickly. Or if you've emailed the customer service, like you can get an answer pretty quickly as to your question if you're wanting to collaborate in some way. But so you work your way back in their network and you'll get to the micro influencer type follower level. And then of course you can work your way even back to less than 10K followers. But you'll see, so you work your way back through their network, and then you start making friends with their network. And you start at whatever level you feel comfortable at. Just start following their friends. Start interacting with their friends. Start collaborating with their friends. Make connections, like authentic connections. And I'll tell you what the cool part is here. So you do that. You become friends with their friends. And depending on how big the people are, that's like kind of your mentor, like, oh man, this is like, if I could create a network like this person's, that would be amazing. So work your way back through their network. And as from however small micro influencer or whatever, to start getting real interactions. Like, so they'll talk back and forth with you, write on their stories, connect, become actual friends. and then collaborate and find out, if it's something like, oh, are they going to an event? Hey, I'll go too, and I'll see you there and I'll meet you, and or whatever the thing is, or just collaborate on a project that's free, or hey, let's do a fun live together. We both love this topic. It'd be fun to hop on and, share with both of our followings something we both connect on, and let's, help influence for each other. So there's so many different ways to collaborate and bond together in whatever the area is you're wanting to grow, or just in general. So as you do that, then again, you continue working your way up and extending through the friendships. And what's really cool then is you're authentically becoming friends with their friends. So, and you're going to then cascade into and up to the next levels of friendship in their inner circle. And your name is going to start circulating. Again, the goal is you're creating a network with people you align with, right? Where the vision of your life aligns with the goals that you have for yourself, the type of work you're in or you want to be in. So these should be authentic friendships, right? So your name's circulating. Well, so then your name's going to start filtering up to that person who you originally had in mind. And as you start creating asks, like, so as I start creating asks for different podcasts, so what I start doing and had started doing was I would make friends with those people. They're awesome, epic people, right? And have them on my podcast. They come on my podcast. They share about my podcast on their stories, maybe even in their posts. They share it with their friends. That circulates to these people that were at, say, the top tier of who I was originally thinking of. And as I worked my way up different friendship levels, or closer and closer to their original inner circle, their inner circle 5, all these people have now been on my podcast. So then when it comes to me asking that, quote, end goal person to come on my podcast, they've already heard about my podcast. I have a ton of referral sources that they know, like, and trust that have been on my podcast that can testify that they had a great experience, that maybe asked really great questions, things they've maybe never been asked before. It's not an out of the blue ask anymore. And if they've heard my name before and they've asked their friends about me, they also might be intrigued to learn more about me. And after we then do have an interview, then we now stay connected and they know who I am. They follow me back. And if I send them a DM to just conversate, to become better friends, they respond to me. I'm now on this list of not a stranger, of more of a priority. And so it's been a really cool thing to experience. It's almost kind of, it's a fun sort of detective work, but not in a weird way. It's true friendships. Again, you're not being weird. We're talking about truly forming a network of aligned people who are going where you want to go in life and creating the kind of life you want, surrounding yourself with those people. So it's not weird to and especially today's day and age, meet people through social media originally, and then you'll do things in person by going, say, to events. Just as an example, I met so many people that I had talked and made friends with in this fashion at personal development events. Oh, hey, you're going to the Bliss Project? Great, I'm going to go too. And I would love to meet you there in person. And then we go in person and we're both bought the VIP ticket so that we can really hang out and like chat further. And, how can we help each other in our business, or whatever the thing is, the event is, or, oh, you're doing a fitness competition. Cool. Which one are you doing? Oh, I'll be there too. Let's meet backstage. Let's go out to eat afterwards. Right. So it's not weird, but it is intentional. And that's what people have to get better at in today's day and age. If like you want true quality friendships, you have to be intentional with your friendships. You don't just it's a smaller statistic that you will randomly make a friend that you can become very close with and best friends with, that you align with goals and can share your dreams with, like when you just randomly meet them. It's really a small statistic. So you have to go out and make intentional friendships. And it's never been easier to do that than in today's day and age. So that's one of the ways I've gotten really big people on this podcast. It's one of the ways that I have really big, in the sense, like really epic, impactful people as close circles of my friendship, and have them as, in my phone to ask for mentorship or to collaborate with or help each other. It's through being intentional. And it's also through, like I explained that, like some people I haven't had to go through that progression to the friendship, to that particular friendship. But especially, you don't want to get turned down like, oh, that person would never want to be in my circle, because that's not true. They just don't know you. So if like a ton of people want to be in their network, which they do, and it's lost in their DMs, they can't get to everybody all at once, and just more DMs are flooding in every day. So it's really not personal. So I think sometimes people reach out to these, people they admire and they don't get a response, and they're like, well, see, I'm not good enough. That's not true. You're just not being intentional enough. So part one of this, sharing this strategy with you, is I want you to know the strategy. So if you've done that before in the past and you thought, oh, see, I'm just not good enough to be in that world, or to be in the circle with that person one day, or to be in the room with them one day, or to collaborate with them one day, that's not true. They just might be flooded right now. And until they know you a little more, then you just might get lost in the DMs. And it's nothing personal. It's just they have a lot of people that want to collaborate and meet them. So you need to go through other friendships and prove your trust and your commitment to the vision and all of that stuff, so that then when you do come to them, they have referral sources. We all love referral sources, don't we? If you're going to go start with a new trainer, or you're going to start a new program, or you're going to buy a new thing, or you're going to, whatever we're going to do, we like to have especially word of mouth testimony of who this person is and that they're trustworthy and not just another person, wanting access to us for the level of our name. Or especially, you got to think about that too. Some of these bigger people, they have people that aren't good people that want to be friends with them, quote, or get to them, but not for good reasons, for selfish reasons. And so they do have to be a little protective too. So you have to think about that. So I'm sharing this strategy for part one, that reason, so that you don't give up on that you're not good enough, or meant to be in the circle with some of these people one day, or even, and it will happen sooner than you think. But here is the real goal. This is something that was so fun that I did discover along figuring out the strategy along the way. Is, like I said in the beginning, they say like the projection of your life is like the 5 people that you spend the most time around. So if you really admire this person that starts out as your quote goal person, goal friendship, goal network, if you've now tapped into all the cascade of people that have made up their strong 5, then you have already tapped into the power that's made that person who they are and who you admire. Isn't that cool? Like, you don't even have to directly get to that person to share in the abundance that person's created and what helped them become so abundant. You can have it sooner than that, by networking with the same people, by making similar friendships, by getting in the rooms with similar people, cascaded down, from their inner 5. Isn't that so cool? Like, that's something that I experienced so fast. And I also experienced that some of these people that were kind of my goal person, say, for example, to get on the podcast, oh, if I could interview them for an hour and spend an hour with them one-on-one, how amazing would that be? Some of these people that I did have to work my way through friendships to get to, ultimately, the people I had on prior to them ended up even being like more powerful impacts on my life personally by the time I got there, which was so cool. So again, it's not like you're going to miss anything. In fact, you're going to gain more working through that process, because you're going to have access to everything that's made, all the influences that have, and the relationships that have made that person successful or abundant, or thriving in whatever that area is that you admire about them. And that is so stinking cool that, again, when you don't have a lack mentality of, oh, if I didn't get to that exact person, like, you're leaving on the table so many epic people that helped make that person become epic. So the sooner that you can realize, like, that's actually where the real gold is. It's all about the relationships. These people get to where they are from having intentional quality relationships and friendships that are co-sharing, that give equal exchange of value, and all of that stuff all along the way. And they're constantly making new friendships. They're constantly creating additional inner 5s. And it's so cool to know that you have access to that. You just have to be bold enough to reach out and create new friendships. You've got to be intentional enough to take the time to say, who does this person hang around? I'm going to see what their Instagram looks like. Okay, and who do they hang around? What kind of things do they like? Do I connect? And you won't connect with every single one of each of these people's inner friendships. There'll be like 1 or 2. And so then you go follow down the path to those 2, and you find your new inner group, and you create a whole community of friendships that you can text and call, more than people you grew up with, that you thought were your lifelong bestest friends. Like, you can become closer to people with today's technology, when you are intentional about your friendships and they align with where you want to go. So just wanted to share that strategy with you guys today. It's something that's really impacted my life in a great way. Like, um, I've always been, you don't have to be extroverted, but I've always loved creating relationships and meeting new people and being curious about people. So that was something I was good at before, but I had never gotten so intentional about how and who I created friendships with than when I started this podcast, because it became important to have the right people on. Not everybody aligns with what this brand is. Not everybody feels like a right fit, which also, like, this brand is also like sort of, quote, my life brand and the Jeana brand. And so it's like I've become so much more intentional about who comes into the Jeana brand of life, who aligns with what I stand for today and represents, that I want to be a reflection of part of who I am. And so someone's like, oh, he or she's part of Jeana's inner five. I want that to be a reflection of who I really want to be seen as, right? So when starting this podcast, I got just so intentional about who I interviewed, who I had on, who I connected with, who I cared to be tied to. And I want that for you guys too, because it's really going to up level everything in your life. The mentorship you can get, the friendships, who you have access to, the community you can create, and everything. So hope that was helpful today. If you loved it, again, please share it on your social media or text it to your friends or family. It's awesome when you can take the time to do a 5-star review, even if you don't leave a comment. But if you leave a comment, I love reading those, seeing what you liked about it. Always feel free, again, to DM me any topics you enjoy hearing at Jeana, Jeana _ Oldham, OLDHAM. I'm on Instagram the most. I am on Facebook at Jeana Oldham. You can DM me there as well. I definitely check both, but Instagram is kind of my main hub for sure. So message me your topics that you like. And I'm thinking about creating a new fun segment for you guys. I know I've told a few of the listeners who have DM'd me like things that they would like to hear on here about this new segment that I'm thinking about creating. So make sure that you're someone that DMs me a question or a topic that you'd like to hear, because you'll be one of the first to be in on this new segment if you do. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a fabulous weekend and safe Halloween, and I'll catch y'all next week. Bye.